Yes, people, welcome back to the podcast, the Pitch Perfect one. And I'm back here. I'm here with a special guest, Mr. Breeze Nation. I'm here with my bro. Um,
Big up, my
so
man.
this is about to be a good one. This is about to be a good one, people. As you can already tell from the title, this is just gonna be just a little quick preview on the match, a little review as well on the matches from the previous night. And yeah, look, anyways, we hope that you guys enjoy. And without further ado, I'm gonna go into the match last night. For those of you that were in contact with me, I mean, you know my thoughts anyways. You know my thoughts on the match. But those of you who weren't, I'm gonna say it as it is. A five-star performance. The this is the best I've seen the team all season long. This is the most free I've seen our players all season long. Um, Now you have to take the performance with a pinch of salt. You have to ask yourself the question whether we were still going to get the same performance had Ten Hag still been in charge, because Leicester, we know how bad Leicester have been this season, my bro. So it's one of those ones where you don't want to get too gassed. I was seeing people on the social getting too gassed, and look, don't get me wrong, like you do your thing, but I'm not one of those ones who just gets like reactionary game in game out. I like to look at things a bit more in depth and a bit more outside the box. So the performance last night, the lineup for a start, happy with the lineup. He just put out the best players out that we have available. He just said, you know what, I'm gonna put out the best 11, and let's just vibes it out. Well, which is fair enough. Which is absolutely fine. I'm there for that. Like we can admit that he's only here to just galvanize the squad, to just bring the feel good factor back. I mean, things have been dire. Ten Hag had lost the dressing room. Players had been fighting with one another. We had so many leaks, so it had just been a complete circus, an absolute circus. So seeing the players looking like they were freed of shackles, like it was a positive feeling. It was a really positive feeling. And to cap it off with scoring 5 goals, I mean, I can't remember the last time, if ever, we've scored 5 goals under Ten Hag. So seeing us score that many goals, it was a surprise, bro. It was a surprise. I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my eyes. I tried so much to downplay it. Maybe I tried overthinking myself, assuming that maybe Leicester were bad. But no, I'm gonna give our team credit. We played well. We were excellent. Like on the flip side, defensively, we just need to do a bit better. Like the goals we conceded were a bit sloppy, shall I say. Goals were very sloppy. But in those kind of games, it's one of those ones where when you're 2 3 goals up, it is very easy to get complacent. So overall, the win is the most important thing at the end of the day. But um, look, RUUD, I don't know how many more games RUUD is going to be in charge for. It looks like he might be in charge for the next 2 games, I think, before AMORIN comes in. So um, I'm just on the vibes train from here on. I'm just on the vibes train. Did you get to see the highlights of the match by any chance, bro?
I did see the highlights of the match. I saw some of the goals he scored. I felt like one or two of them were a bit fluky, if you're being honest. The Casemiro one, I can't lie to you, very fluky. That one, the long shot, that one. You have to look at the keeper a little bit on that one for me personally. But in
No
general,
way,
yeah,
bro.
you have to,
What,
bro.
what, what
He
could the
did.
keeper do there,
He
bro?
had the goalkeeper that had so much time to see Casemiro's shot. Casemiro went for placement. They didn't even like shoot it with that much power. His shot was like placement, to be honest. That's why I always say when the player hits it like with pure vim and it goes in from distance, I'm always like that one actually makes sense. Like I can't even complain to the GK on that one. But when it's like a placement shot from long distance, the goalkeeper usually should be able to at the very least get a hand to it, in my personal opinion. But other than that, I saw you were scoring a lot of goals. Maybe a little bit of it's obviously new manager bounce. Maybe obviously maybe a little bit of obviously of course Leicester not being that great in general this season. But again, I feel like for me, the defensively you're very similar. as to what you are under Ten Hag. I think for me, the thing is like with at least with Ruud van Nistelrooy, his tactics mean that you're always going to be defensively caught, if that makes sense, because he likes to play very attacking football. That's why at the very least you saw in the game against Leicester, you were continuously bombing forward, bombing forward. So I think for me in general, it's a good performance, but like sometimes when you have these big wins after a former manager leaves, that might have been a bit of a problematic issue for you, and you do all this stuff. The next game, you don't reach that high necessarily. Sometimes when you reach that all-time high, sometimes you do crash out. So that's one thing I will say in regards to it.
No, that's fair enough. I can't argue with what you're saying. Just bar that the goalkeeper could have done anything with that. I don't think I can agree with you that yes, he was a fluke shot. Maybe nine times out of 10, he goes over the bar. And
you know what it is, bro? It's like what it is, bro. Yeah, the Casemiro goal. Yeah, it's a type of goal that you score when what's it called? Yeah, when you're free of someone. You know what I mean? When someone's unshackled you, you know what I mean? You just have the energy, you have the juice, everything's in there with you, and it just bang. You scored as well. That's the best way to describe the goal he scored.
No, that's exactly not even the goal, just his whole performance in general. Bro was about to get 4 goals in that game. Like
the thing though is, yeah, and I've said this about Casemiro though, it's all good and good him scoring goals, but you need him to do the defensive job because that's what he's necessarily there for you, for your team, right? If I'm not mistaken, and I think you would agree with me. It's great, yes, you're chipping in, but I don't need you to be scoring goals. So that shouldn't be your primary thing. Your primary thing for me should be to defend. And then, but the thing is, as you can see, some of the goals that you did concede were on the transition, right? And you have to start. That's why you have to look at Casemiro and be like, you got to do your job, man. I understand Ugarte is there next to you, but again, I don't rate Ugarte that highly personally, but like Casemiro should be able to do that job too. But that's just me.
No, I hear that, bro. I hear that. I can't disagree with that. But on the flip side, though, I take it as I mean, you can look at it as a positive and a negative. I look at it as a positive in the sense that, like, it shows us that he can do more than just defending. That he can get the 1 or 2 goals every 5 games, every 6-10 games. If we do need it. Like we know him, like with Madrid or with Brazil, like his job was just to defend. That was all that was required of him. He was just required to defend. Modric and Kroos were gonna do all the ball work, But here he's a bit more. He's been given a bit more freedom to be an all-around player. But at the same time, on the flip side, it is a negative, like in the sense where if we have to rely on Casemiro to be getting goals and to be our creator and that type of a player, that it is a cause for concern at the same time. So I get where I really get where you're coming from. But yeah, bro, you made a very good point. Like this is the best performance he's had all season. Like he just looks like someone who's just the shackles have just been removed. The shackles have just fallen off him. Like bro was about to get 4 goals, like I mentioned. Those kind of shots. You don't shoot those shots if you're not confident.
Exactly.
You don't even think about it. So for him to be in that position and think, what, I'm just rifling it. Whatever happens. It's a confidence thing, So I don't know what RUUD has done in the dressing room, but whatever he's done is clearly working so far. But like I said, I have to take it with a pinch of salt because I've seen this many a time with interim managers at this club. They come and they bring the feel good factor. Players are happy for a couple of weeks, and then before you know it, the wheels fall off, and then we're having the same old conversations again. So that's one of the main reasons why I was very critical of Ineos, because we had a meeting. They had a meeting, a board meeting, I think about like 2 weeks ago. During the international break, and they decided to still back the man and keep him. So I don't understand from when they had the meeting to now, what different did they see? Because
this is the problem, by the way, bro. I've said this to obviously I speak to other United fans. Like I've got a few good United mates myself. I said, what changed between the result you got against who is it? I forget the team you faced in the league, West Ham, and the result that obviously before the international window.
Yeah, it was West Ham and Aston Villa.
Yeah, Aston Villa. Nothing's changed, bro. Like the same thing was happening. Why did you not just get AMORIN through the door within the international break? yeah, and get him to start the process now. I get there's another international break coming up after this week upcoming, right? Our fortnight week, right? But it's like it's still if it happened earlier, you may have been given Amarin a little bit more of a chance to implement his style of play. That's all it is for me personally.
No. You couldn't have said it any better, bro. You could not have said it any better. So that's why I look at them. I look at the decision they made sideways, because I'm like, all of a sudden, why do you decide to get rid of him? When you had the meeting 2 weeks ago, and nothing has changed from 2 weeks ago to now. So it just everything just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, because of how quickly we got Amarin, so I just assumed that maybe we have been having conversations with him in the background, and we were just waiting for the approval from him and from Sporting before we decided to get rid of Ten Hag. But yeah, like even with the Amarin appointment, like I just like how quick and how proactive we were with, we didn't decide to fall on the
To muck
passion thing.
about.
And
Yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah, we didn't decide to fall on the passion thing and just decide to give RUUD, another 6 months, and then before you know it, it turns to another Ole situation. So I am happy about that on the flip side. So that kind of makes me think that, yeah, they might have been having conversations in the background, because they did confirm they had conversations with Tuchel, with Gareth Southgate, with a couple of managers, so maybe Amarin was one of those that they were having conversations and things were
They had a
progressing.
lot of I think United had a lot of conversation, if I'm not mistaken, with a bunch of different managers. So that's all it is. So like again, I don't think that's anything new, anything surprising. I just think now what's happened probably is that they've had to give Amarin, I think, a lot more than they probably were willing to give initially. That's what I think's probably happened, in my personal opinion. I don't know about you, because I think when you're, especially when you're in a dire situation as you are in right now and everything like that, sometimes, bro, even if you want to do certain stuff, you can't do it because you're not in a position of power, essentially. So for me, it wouldn't surprise me if Amron got a lot more. It's a lot more say or power in the sense of like what he wants to do and what he wants to get out of the team.
Most likely, most likely that's what's going to happen, because I was saying it on the stream with my boys a couple of days ago that if I'm Amrin, if I'm Amarin, I'm 9 for 9 in the league. Yeah, I'm playing so well in Europe with Sporting. Gyökeres is on the form of his life. He's scoring almost every game. Every other game. Every game. I'm undefeated in the league. I'm having a great season. I'm on the verge of doubling it. I'm on the verge of winning the league again. So Sporting are having a great season. According to their standards. So if I'm Amrin, I wouldn't have made the jump this early on. I'd have waited for maybe after the summer, because like January comes, we probably won't even have a good window in January. We might not have enough money to invest in the players that he might want. So it's a
I've got a
very
question for you. I've got a question for you because, like, I'm gonna ask this question to my other United mate today, who I usually stream with as well, and that is that I think you've got a good mixture. I think you've got a lot of players who are from a lot of different styles of play. In my personal opinion, how do you think Amra is gonna make that work? In my personal opinion, I think at least I think the thing of Chelsea, as I've always said before, when Maresca came in, it made sense as if you don't look at his experience and you just look at him, the manager and his tactics, it made sense because all of the players we had could play what he plays in terms of like his style of play and what he does. I think at United, the issue that you have is that he's in a very similar situation, I would say, to almost when Tuchel went to Chelsea, where there's different players who suit different styles of play, and they don't really necessarily suit his idea. So like, and like the thing is, we know he plays a 3-4-3 usually. Is he gonna have to then get through these players to adapt, coach them, which of course is what you're expecting? But my question is, can he do that, or is it gonna be a question of like, he might be a bit of a bad period this season? Like we let the season run as it is, and then in the summer we bring in these players, and then we judge them then.
That's a good question, bro. That's a good question. We do have a lot of different styles of players. All what you call it, all accumulating from Mourinho's time. We have players from Mourinho's players, Ole's players. all
Van
kinds of
Gaal's, bro.
different players.
Even Van Gaal. Yeah, plays from Van Gaal's era, bro, in Rashford, for example. So,
Yeah.
so you've got at least managers from 4 different ages, in my personal opinion. And the thing is, like, when I look at a back three, for example, I think defensively, your defenders can suit that. I don't know if you have the wing backs to do that job, in my personal opinion. Because I think for me, Delo, can he do a job at wing back? Probably he can do a job at wing back, but I always see Delo, as a back four fullback, if that makes sense. Like, he works best in a back four, right? I don't know Mazzarari. I don't really see him as a back four, as a wing back. He's more so, again, a proper fullback, in my personal opinion. That's why he inverts a lot of the time. He's a bit more technical. Maybe Malacia can do that job. Maybe if you say Delo and Malacia might be the favorite, but again, Malacia, he's becoming like an NPC, bro. I forgot that he even exists. Like, with all due respect, you know what I mean? But like, again, he can probably say Ugarte can suit the system. Maybe a Kobe Mino next to him in that 2 role. But then he plays. He doesn't actually play wingers, by the way. He plays inside forwards, like tens. And then it becomes a question of, Garnacho, do I have a spot for you? I don't know under him. I have a spot for maybe a Bruno Fernandes. I can see Amad Diallo playing that 10 role. He can play the 10 role, in my personal opinion. Then the striker position, probably gonna have to be Højlund. I could see it being Højlund more so than Xerxes, for me personally. And then after that, that's your team. But then it's like, you got all these other players. Rashford, I don't think he has a spot in this team. Unless Rashford decides to get transformed into a wing back, which I don't really see. I don't see him having that defensive work. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of players that I know a lot of your fans really like, that I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it into his team.
No, bro. You're right. But this is the problem now with AMORIN and the back three system, because the back three system is very much player specific. Like, you need to have the specific players to make the system work. There are 1 or 2 formations out there in the game that you could wing it and get away with not having the specific player for that system. But a back three, you need specific players. We've seen it with managers, with Conte, with even Inzaghi. All these managers, they have players specific for their formation to make it work. For me, I was a very big Tuchel advocate, because Tuchel is very much able to adapt to the team that he's in. At PSG, he played a 4-2-3-1. Dortmund, he played a 4-3-3. He came to Chelsea, he went to a back three. Then went to Bayern, reverted to the back four, and then with England, God knows why he's gonna go with just. So I was happy with Tuchel, because Tuchel was gonna be able to adjust to the style that he felt would have been best for our team in that current moment.
The problem with Tuchel, I would say, my bro, and listen, a lot of Chelsea fans, I don't know if they'll say it as it is now, but I'll say it. You know what I mean? Because I'm very objective in my stance. Tuchel, I think Tuchel tactically is a great manager. I think my problem with Tuchel right now is that he's very similarly going down a similar trajectory to Mourinho, where I think he's lost his ability to manage players. Like, you saw what happened towards the end at Chelsea with his man management. Bayern Munich, his man management as well let him down there quite massively. That's what led to him having all the stuff that he had. So for me personally, when I look at a lot of this stuff here, I think for me, I don't know how long Tuchel would last at your football club. So that's what it is to me. Like, for me, if you're saying he's going to be there for the in-between period, then I think, you know what, Faz, it makes sense then, right? You have him there for a season or 2. You know he's going to crash out eventually, but at least by that time, you've swapped all the players that you want to get out, and you've brought in the players you want to bring in, and then the new manager that comes in has the players that work for him only.
That's a good point. But this is why I'm very interested to know what conversations were had between Ineos and AMORIN, because to bring him at this time of the season, when Sporting are 9 for 9 in the league, and we're an absolute disaster.
But can we be also honest, bro? Like, it's like, listen, it is Sporting Lisbon. You know what I mean? I don't mean like that as a disrespect to Sporting Lisbon, to the Portuguese league and everything like that. But like, if you are a manager of his ilk and you're upper manager and you're basically being given the biggest job in the world, basically, listen, in football, listen, I'm a big Chelsea fan. I know a lot of fans will not want to say this. Realistically, I always say Real Madrid, Barcelona, and then it's United, in my personal opinion, in terms of jobs that managers want to get. Bayern Munich, of course, you can add there, Chelsea, Arsenal, etc., etc. but like those are the three big jobs essentially. And if you're any manager, that wants to, is particularly that wants to come to United, he's gonna have the belief that they're gonna be able to change something. And particularly when you're a young manager like AMORIN, 39 years old, he's gonna have that belief and that thing to be able to do that job. So that's what it comes down to, I think, for him, more so than anything else, bro.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, to be honest. I cannot argue with that. It's gonna be interesting to see. For you as a Chelsea fan, do you feel bad that going into this game that we have RUUD in the dugout instead of Ten Hag? Is that a worry for you?
No. And the reason why I will say it's a no is because I think for me, it shouldn't matter who's in the dugout either way. If you're as a footballer, you have to, focus on the game, and at the end of the day, we need to win the game. Simple as that. I always say, listen, it's not. I don't care who's at the helm, unless obviously he's there as the actual manager for the long term. Listen, they've lost their manager. Yeah, it's not nice. Maybe you get a little bit of a bounce. It might make the competition a little bit harder. But the reality is, we still got to beat you. We're still better than you, in my personal opinion. We still, I think our manager's implemented this tactics a lot more. There's been 10 of our players all rested, again for you guys. They've not even played in the midweek period, so they're nice, locks and loaded. They were all in London, sleeping in their beds, relaxing. You know what I mean? They're ready. They should be. I'm expecting 3 points after what happened yesterday. I'm expecting 3 points.
All right. Talking about 3 points. Let's go into your game. I didn't get to see the game in full context. I saw the highlights though. But my bro, the floor is yours. Talk to me.
You know where it is, my brother. It's interesting because, for me, as a Chelsea fan, I always like to. There's something that I always say, which is that I wanted to test the B team because when you're facing teams like, with all due respect to Panathinaikos, to Ghent, right? And it's not going to be, I think, for me, a real competition. Conference League, I've said before, I shouldn't even be I'm expecting this 100% win rate there. You know what I mean? I know obviously we have to Servette, but it is a blip in the road on the Servette. But for me personally, I'm expecting us to win all those games. I think Newcastle, they really came with a strong lineup, and I thought this is going to be a good test to see how good is this B team for Chelsea. You know what I mean? And I think for me, part of my thinking of Maresca is that he clearly, in my personal opinion, is prioritizing the league. It looks like for me, in terms of his starting 11. He really wants to do this rotation thing consistently, managing minutes consistently. And I know for many people, a lot of my Chelsea mates were saying the players can play 2 times a week. And I think that's true. But I think there's also this added context of the Club World Club, which I know you know about. That's happening, by the way, 2 weeks after the season ends. So it's there's probably a need for rotation. But I think this game against Newcastle really showed, in my personal opinion, the gap between our starters and then our backups, right? In the sense that when you look at Fofana and Cole, a lot of people still say those guys are shaky. But when you look at Disasi and Buddy Shaw, with all due respect, it's like looking at they're like kings, and then you're looking at paupers. With all due respect, it's not good, bro. It's not good. Buddy Shaw, for me personally, I was a big fan of his. When he came to Chelsea, they had a great season, but then after he had a hamstring injury under Poch, he really declined. And he's now declining even further. He has continuous bozo moments. He's one of the reasons why we let the first goal go in as well, because of that pass he gave to Renato Vega. And, he just continuously makes mistakes and looks stupid. The other one is Disasi. Disasi, for me, I want to give him a little bit of credit because I think for me, Disasi, in terms of leadership qualities, he's a great guy. But the problem is, you can't be shit and be the leader at the same time. You know what I mean, bro? You know what I'm talking about, right? You can't do that, bro. That's basically being Pat Beverly. You know what I mean? You don't want to be a Pat Beverly. So, you know what I mean? So that's the best way to describe it. But I just think for me, Disasi, he's actually lost the muscle mass. He looks a lot more leaner, in my personal opinion. And the thing is, he's not even faster. He looks slower than when he had the muscle mass. And he's playing right back to you, bro. It's
but bro, I know I didn't watch the game in full. I didn't see the game in full context. But from what I saw in the game, you guys did not play shit. The goals you considered.
No, we played bad, bro. Brother, I'm telling you, we couldn't play out the back. We were in our half for a good 45 minutes in the first half, bro. I'm being serious. We were just sat there. We couldn't pass our way out of it, literally. So I'm being serious when I say that too. And like, I'm just talking about those two players. I think Jorgensen, I said this before. I don't think he's a good player in my personal opinion. I had already known about him. I had done my scouting on him previously. There was much better players out there in the market for his price range. Chevalier from Lille, Walker from Nice. Those guys are much better players, are much more balanced in their positioning, and know what to do and provide confidence to the back line as well. I think another guy we need to talk about, Chelsea fans, I think, they don't like talking about this guy. You know what I mean? I think you know who I'm going to say, yeah? And that is Enzo Fernandez. And listen, Lavia, in my personal opinion, has already taken this guy's chain. That's why he's starting now week in, week out, as you've seen. I think for me, the problem with Enzo is twofold. I think for me, when you're a player and you're not and you're playing as a deep line playmaker, your favorite position, I'm expecting to be able to hold the line, make the passes, be able to have the vision and everything like that. He kept on passing to opposition. He wasn't cool under pressure. He's meant to be a press-resistant player. Can't do that at all. And like, I think for me, what makes it worse is that when you buy this guy for 105 million, but then there's a guy that we've got on loan who we are prepping, and Andre Santos. I don't know if you know who he is, Andre Santos. Yeah, he's at Strasbourg right now, scoring goals week in, week out, bro. He's doing his job as a 6 and scoring goals. And like, it's like there's guys that are better than you in the team now. Lavia is better than you. Caicedo is better than you. And the thing about what makes it crazy about this Lavia and Enzo, so Caicedo and Enzo. Caicedo, if you watch Caicedo, he's doing what we expected Enzo to do. He's playmaking. He's advancing the ball. He's doing the defensive work. He's doing everything that he wants to do. And I think for me with Enzo, I think the reality is, bro, he is not good enough for the team. He's not good enough for Chelsea at this point. He's not good enough. And
that's a big statement, bro.
No, it's not a big statement. It's the reality, my brother. It's the reality. And I think for me, we need to realize that right now, until he wishes to either improve his game or something else happens, it's time for. It's a good thing he's on the B team because he's not good enough to start for Chelsea, and he's just good. I don't even know if he's good enough to be a sub at this point because like he can't do the job that we ask him to do. What is he giving me on the pitch? So that's what it comes.
But my bro, speaking about Enzo though, don't you feel like a lot of what he's doing at the moment might be just down to what the manager is requiring of him rather than his actual quality as a player? Because we've seen Maresca try a lot of different things this season.
I think for me, he's playing in his position though. I think the argument I would make is that he's playing as his position as a deep line playmaking 6, bro. Like he plays there consistently. That's what he does all of the time. When he plays in that 8 role, it's towards the end of the game. That I don't really criticize him for. But when you're playing your own position, when you're playing the pivot next to Caicedo, that is the stuff that you're meant to be doing quite well, and you can't even handle that one, my brother.
Wow. That's a bold statement, This is your captain you're on about here.
It's not my captain. Wow. My captain is James. Thank you. He doesn't even want to, but it's not even that. Like, I don't know, obviously there's something that came out today in regards to his personal life, which I'm not going to talk about as well. But he's just like, it's not working out for him here. You know what I mean? Either we move on from him and get another player, or we just keep it pushing because like we need to, bro.
Wow. I mean, I won't lie. Personally, I like Enzo as a player. So, and I feel like he fits what you're trying to do, and he fits the team. He fits the deep line playmaking, type of player you need in your team. So to hear this from a Chelsea fan, I mean, maybe you're seeing
do you know what it is though, bro? Yeah? Again, like if you were to ask any of my mates or anyone else, like they would. I'm a big Enzo fan in terms of like the type of players. My favorite player, by the way, one of my favorite players of all time is Andrea Pirlo. Like that guy is he's meant to be playing very similar to this guy. And like for me, that's why I've always been interested to see how he plays and all the stuff that he's doing. But the problem for me, and I will say again, is that he's not living up to the expectations. He's not living up to expectations, and he has continuously bad performances. And so, how much more time can I give him? How much more time can I give him? That Lord, there's other players here where we love to pick on them for ease. Mudryk, for example. But Mudryk this season has improved as a player. You know what I mean? But with all due respect, I can't even cuss out Mudryk like how people want to cuss him out because he's improving. He's actually learned how to use his abilities a bit more better under Maresca, and therefore I can actually say, you know what, Mudryk, fair play to you, my brother. Fair play to you. Enzo's not improving, bro. He's declining every season that he's played for us.
So you don't see a place for Enzo in the starting 11 whatsoever.
No, No, because Caicedo is doing his job. Lavia can do his job now. Lavia can hit. I don't know if you've been seeing. Lavia's been hitting long balls, the long whip balls to perfection compared to him.
Wow, wow. That's wow, bro. That's a big statement. That's a big statement you've dropped there. Mom's life. That's a big statement. I won't lie to you, bro. I like Enzo, bro. Like Enzo is probably one of the players that I like watching the most from your team. So to hear you speak like this on his name is crazy. I mean, like people have been talking dirty on his name, bro, so far this season, and I just felt like it was less about him and more about the manager, like experimenting him, like playing him further forward as a 10, all these different things. So that's why I'm not being
You know what
as
the
high
irony
on him.
is, my bro? Yeah, Enzo Maresca was brought in to help him get to his level. You know what I mean? That's the irony, my brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
and like he's not even got that. That's the so again. This is why for me, you know, I always say this. Yeah, if you brought in the gaffer to give him this new level, and he's not even reaching it. It's uncomfortable conversations, my bro, but they need to be had, as I always say before, man. These are the type of conversations that need to be had.
I hear that. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Ah, well, in that case, and in the game as well, then in game, does the loss bother you? Does the loss make you worried about the
Of
weekend?
course, I don't think the loss bothers me because the entire B team played. But obviously, it's not happy because at Chelsea the standards always we should be winning trophies, right? And like getting out of the Carabao Cup, not of course you're not going to be happy about that. And so I would have loved to have a Carabao Cup, but this for me means I'm expecting now to be in the FA Cup final and win the FA Cup final. That's what it says to me. Like again, I'm not looking at the UEFA Conference League as a trophy that I should be winning. That should be already. I should already be seeing that in the Chelsea trophy room already, the Conference League. I don't even need to worry about that one, right? So the FA Cup, I should be expecting now to be in the final and winning that one, in my personal opinion. Again, I think for me, by the way, against United, I think we will win that game, and I think for me, I'm not worried. I'm not worried, bro. I think the
I don't know
mentality
why.
of
I don't know
particularly
why your confidence is so high. Like your record
listen,
at Old Trafford is not that great,
but
bro.
listen. The records are meant to be broken, and last season it should have been broken. In my personal opinion, last season it actually should have been broken last season. In my personal opinion, but this season we're gonna break that record, bro. I think for me, the reason why I'm so much more different is I think the players have a different mentality now compared to previous seasons. You can see it in the way they play, in the way they act, in the way they move. I can see that the mentality now of the players is a lot more stronger. I can see it in them. So that's why for me, I'm that much more confident in my personal opinion.
I won't lie to you, bro. I've sat down many years, many seasons, and we've been dead, we've been shit, we've been getting bent over from team to team, and every single time Chelsea come over to the theater, they we just find a way somehow. Some like within the last 10 years, you've probably been better than us 8 of those 10 years, and whenever you have came to the theater, it's just always been a different story, regardless of how bad we've been. So I don't know where this confidence is coming from. Had this been at the bridge, I would understand completely because our record at the bridge as well
But you know
is
what it
not
is,
great.
bro. You know what it is, though, bro. Like again, listen. I think if you look at a lot of the hindsight of those records, a lot of them were draws. It wasn't like just like we lost every single time we won there. A lot of the time we had a lot of draws with you. I think what has changed now is that I think I look at your team. I think our team is better than yours. I think we have a better manager than you currently, right? Obviously, because you've got Van Nistelrooy right now. I think our tactics are better. I think we're on a better role as well. I think for me, when you add all of those pieces together, I just think it does well. And I think the difference now is the Chelsea of old against like at least away wasn't as good. This our team now away from Chelsea is in blistering form. We have not lost away from Chelsea away from home against the new unless you count the Newcastle game but that's the Carabao Cup game basically. And Liverpool, sorry, we don't have lost and Liverpool. That's it. Liverpool and Newcastle. That's it.
To be honest, I'm not gonna go into the Liverpool defeat or the Man City defeat because those teams, it's not a shame losing against those teams. So anyone can lose against them on a given day. But um, I just feel with the new manager bounce, the feel good factor being back. I hear what you're saying. I get your point that you guys have been in good form. You guys are playing well. Maresca is is gelling well enough with the players, but I just don't know. Had this been under Ten Hag, probably you probably would nick it, but just because it's a new manager, a new change, new voice, new ideas, I just feel like the game just might not be as easy and as you think. I just feel like you think it's just going to be a straight up win. You're going to go there and just breeze past us. And
I don't think we're going to breeze past you. I think it's going to be tough, but I think the point I'm trying to make is that I just believe that my team will get the win. I don't think it's going to be like a 3-0. I don't think it's going to be like a 5-1 or something like that. I do believe it will probably be like a 2-1 in my passport, or even like a 2-0. I could see it being very tough, but I think the thing is Jackson's on form. Palmer's in form right now. You know, Neto has played brilliant football so far this season, in my personal opinion. I think a lot of our players coming into this game are very much in form, if that makes sense, my bro. So that's where I'm coming from, if that makes sense.
bro, speaking about Jackson, by the way, I was going to ask. Like, look, I like Jackson, probably one of the best when it comes to holding the ball, bringing players into play in the game at the moment. Speaking about Jackson, like because of how good he is at the moment, does that make you feel worried for Nkunku? Does that make you feel bad for him because he was your big money signing? He was meant to be the main man up front for you guys.
It's difficult, bro, because I don't think Nkunku was meant to be a striker for us. He's meant to be the 10. But you know what happened, bro? The season that he got injured and had those long-term injuries, Cole Palmer came through. And that's a tough one, isn't it? You know what I mean, bro? It's a tough one because, like, you know, Cole Palmer, he did this crazy stuff. He's still doing this crazy stuff now. And so you can't really play him on the left wing because of the way that the manager wants to play stuff. Same with the right wing. I think as a striker, I don't think he works as an out-and-out striker, in my personal opinion. Like, you see the difference now. And Jackson also is a very clinical player. You know what I mean? Jackson's very clinical now compared to last season. 6 goals already in the league this season. He's got 3 assists in the league too, 9 GNA in 9 games. He's looking comfortable. He's looking like he's going to be able to handle his business, in my personal opinion. And so it becomes a bit more of a sticky one, if that makes sense, bro. You know what I mean? It's a bit more of a sticky one with him. So I think for me personally, and I'll say it like this, Jackson, I think for me, Nkunku, if Madueke continues to perform as bad as he is, maybe shift Palmer to the right wing and then Nkunku comes back into the 10. But I get him, man, because Nkunku is one of my favorite players. I was so happy when we got him at Chelsea because I think for me he's a talented lad. But reality is right now, just there's no space for him.
So you don't see any chance of a team with Nkunku and Jackson together up front? No,
no, because I think the managers are not like playing 2 strikers up front. That's the problem. The manager himself, he's a very vehemently against that sort of style of play. So I think maybe, unless, as I said before, you put Palmer on the right if Madueke continues to not play so well, yeah, and then you put him in the 10, I think that works. And I think it would work because I think Nkunku, for me, he plays more so not as a creative guy. He's a secondary striker, in my personal opinion, in the cam role, right, where you can allow Jackson to do his thing, but then Nkunku, because he's very smart in his play and the way he likes to play too, and he's effective in terms of goal scoring, he just sweeps in there and then bang goal. Because that's what Palmer and him do, by the way. If you watch Palmer and Jackson, Jackson Palmer creates, but the thing is, the way it works is that Jackson usually picks up the ball, turns, he's able to turn his man, flick over to the winger, and then Palmer's usually in the striker position already for him. So that's the way that it usually works, at least between those two in terms of like synergy wise. And I can see that working with Nkunku and Thingy. So yeah.
You know what? These are good problems to be having. In fairness, I won't even lie to you, bro. These are good problems to be thinking about. But speaking on Chelsea still, I was gonna ask about Enzo Maresca, bro, because what you call it? For me, I'll be honest with you. When he initially was appointed as Chelsea manager, I had doubts. I was looking at him sideways just because of how much hard work he had made the championship last season with Leicester, because Leicester were breezing through, and then he just made hard work of it towards the end of the season. So I was looking at him sideways going into the new job at Chelsea. And obviously, look, we know all Pep's disciples, Arteta, Ten Hag, all in fraud watch as well. So I just thought he was going to be another one. But he's slowly revived. He's slowly revived himself to be. But I was going to ask you, like, for those who don't know out there, like is he a pragmatic manager? Is he an attacking manager? What's his philosophy? What's his style of play, in your opinion?
I think he's an attacking manager, I would say, but his style of play is like, You know, he likes to build up from the back, obviously, as any Pep student would like to do. I think for me, he really likes his wingers being direct. Like you can see it, like our wingers are very direct wingers. Madueke, 1v1, Sancho, 1v1, same with Neto, 1v1, but with pace. And then like almost like, you know, he likes, that's really style of play. He's like tiki taka, quick balls style of play, my personal opinion, and that's what he likes to do. And so for me, you know, Maresca, I think what Maresca has done, I think in this team more than anything else, obviously A is implement the style of play, but I think B is the mentality for me. You know what I mean? The mentality at the club, you can clearly see it's changed. You know what I mean? You can see it in the players. I think for me, when you were looking at Potter, you know, when he came out in the second half, bro, you always knew we were going to concede. The moment we came out into the second half, our teams were so obviously up and down, bro. Like we didn't have, you know, a correct course of action, a correct course of ability, a correct course of of thinking about stuff through. So I think for me personally, bro, honestly, I was very happy. I'm very happy with what Maresca's giving me so far. I think he's still learning. Obviously, as you can see, him playing the B team against Newcastle, I think necessarily wasn't the right idea in my personal opinion against Newcastle, and obviously playing guys off the bench. But the one thing I respect about Maresca is that he learns from his mistakes. That's one thing that, you know, I think if you want from any manager, whether it be, especially an elite one, if he makes one mistake one time, he's not going to repeat it twice, if that makes sense. So that's one thing I will give about Maresca. And I think for me also, you know, the balling of the points they had against Leicester City, I feel like it's like something that's very inherent with Leicester. I don't know about you, bro. It was happening even in the Premier League, like where they would get so many points and they'll be almost in fourth place, and then they didn't, or everything is going keeps on falling down. So
no, that's a fair point. Like I said, he's slowly reviving himself in my eyes. He's looking good. The games that he was meant to win, he's won well. You know, I was saying it to my boy, who's a Chelsea fan. He's one of the host of the channel as well. I was saying to him that, look, like when you're going to places like, I know it's Panathinaikos, but when you're going to these places, you know, those parts of Europe against those teams with the hostile environment, with the bubbly pitches, and you're winning convincingly, you know, these are big statements, you know, even though people might come out and you know, just troll and stuff like that, but going out there to these unforgivable places and be winning well, you know, with your second team is good. It's just a sign that whatever the man is doing.
I actually don't. I think, listen, I should be expecting to be winning over that, in my personal opinion. But what I will say to you is that I'm looking at him in terms of the way that he's won against the Bournemouth. Against well, we didn't win there last season. We drew against Bournemouth there last season. We now got that goal that we won against them. Another team that we're looking at, another team to look at. Who's another team that we faced recently that we not Brighton? I forget the teams that we faced. Give me one minute, bro. I'm gonna actually just like bring up our bear with me really quickly. I'm just gonna bring up our team matches. There we go. Like, okay, so against, for example, Nottingham Forest. Yes, we drew against them. We drew against them last season. But you look at West Ham, for example. West Ham, we don't win away at West Ham, but we were able to take that win under him again. Like, you know what I mean? So even some of these performances of Wolves, we haven't won against Wolves, by the way, away in a long time. At the moment, we get the 6-2 win over there. So, like, again, the reason why I'm bringing all these fixtures up is to show you that, you know, we are doing stuff that we should have been doing last season that we're now doing this season, right? There's progression. We're moving forward. That's the thing that I'm looking for more than anything. You know, this time last year, I think we had like 10 points or like 9 points, stuff like that. This season, we're somewhere like, what, 19, 20 right now, if I'm not mistaken, points in the league. We're literally on 17 points in the league right now, in fifth place.
No, bro, you're absolutely spot on. That being even the games you lost, like the game against City or the game against Liverpool, performance wise, you were holding out your own. You didn't go out there and just got stomped on. You were holding out your own. That it was just on a different day, the result would have been different. It was just one of those games, you know. So that's why I'm saying that Maresca has revived himself in my eyes, because those games that you lost on a different day, you probably win. You probably go away with a point, you know. But look, obviously hindsight is a great thing, but I'm asking this question because my boy, the guy that's Richie, the one that's on this channel as well. He he hates Poch with a passion. Like he said, Poch is like the worst Chelsea manager ever. So I want to hear your thoughts.
I don't know if he's. I don't think he's ever, because like that probably goes to Benitez. That goes to Benitez because like Benitez,
bro,
man, the Benitez era. No. Listen, Poch can be a bad manager. Listen, I can agree with that. I agree with everything that your mate is saying. If you are at the Benitez era of Chelsea, they didn't even care if you won or lost, bro. Bro, week in week out. I was at the stadium at the time, bro. They used to be banners up. Benitez, you anchor. Everything, bro. Week in, week out, bro. Like that's what they used to literally say to this guy, bro. Like, Poch, let's not get it twisted, The thing is that the stadium fans love Poch. I don't know if your mate knows that quite well, because I don't know if you go to the stadium, but like the stadium fans love Poch. They love Poch. That's something that a lot of people don't know about, by the way. That particularly if you're obviously don't have the opportunity, sadly, if you're like living abroad and stuff, and to come to the stadium. Because I'm a local, for example, I'm able to get a ticket or two whenever I want to. So like I can usually get a gist of what's happening inside, if that makes sense, my brother. But like, listen, I think the thing of Poch, was that he's a double-edged sword, as I like to call him. I think many opposition fans, I think they recognize this, and I recognize this too. He's the man in management, of the players was elite. I don't care what anyone says. He's the man was elite, bro. Because like the way that the players reacted to him leaving the club, amount of belief they had in him, the amount of trust they had in him, you can't deny, in my personal opinion, that his man management style was elite. The problem with Pochettino was that, and this is something that you have to criticize the ownership and the board on, in my personal opinion, is that you brought a running type of manager, a manager that needs runners, and that's his sort of style of play for a team full of technical players. That's fundamentally what the issue was. It wasn't necessarily that Poch was a bad manager, in my personal opinion. It was that you brought the wrong manager for the wrong players. That was the problem that we had at Chelsea Football Club, in my personal opinion. So, and that's why you saw it the way the amount of injuries he had last season and everything like that. A lot of that is to do with the way he does his training and stuff like that. Now in the season, you're seeing now completely different scenario. We have no players injured currently because of how we do stuff now, and the manager that we have and the style of play that he has too, because it suits the players that we have. And so for me, Poch, I don't think he would be doing any better. I think he'd still be meandering in the same place. I don't think the club would have given the players that he wanted. And so for me personally, Poch, wrong manager for the wrong team. That's what it comes down to for me.
So you're basically saying that the sacking was undeserved.
The sacking was deserved because they had to correct the mistake they had made. Because to the point I made to you, bro,
it was a Chelsea problem. It wasn't a Poch problem all this time.
No. It was a problem. It was an ownership problem, because we brought in the wrong manager for the wrong players. Because do you know what I'm saying to you? It's not necessarily on Poch.
Yeah.
Poch is English and stuff like that. Yes, we can criticize him for, but fundamentally, when it comes down to it, we have to be blaming the board and the sporting directors, because they brought in the wrong style of play, coach, to the team. Does that make sense? Like, that's why it comes down to, you know what I mean? Like, because like I'm pretty sure 99% of all our players are technical players.
Yeah.
And Poch's type of player is a runner. They don't have runners.
Yeah, but I don't know, bro. I mean, at the same time, like a manager of that stature, bro, like you're not just gonna sit down and just take whatever you're given. You're gonna surely have some balls and be like, you know what? No, I want this one specifically. This one, like on.
What? No, because you remember, we're in a new era now, my brother. We're in a new era of football now, bro. Remember, the managers now, they don't get to say, I want this XYZ player anymore. Even Ancelotti doesn't get to say that anymore. We live in an era where you can ask for players who have different styles of who can ask for players of archetypes. I want this type of player, tall, can do this and that, and then it's onto the sporting director to then like find that player and bring that to your team. The game changed now, and so for me, at the end of the day, bro, Poch, he himself was just not the right manager because he didn't have the mentality, in my personal opinion. But as I said before, good man management, the tactics were just not the right one.
All right. That's fair. That is fair. I can live with that, because I like Poch. I liked him. Like when you appointed him, I thought that was a big sign. I was worried because I felt like he was gonna take you to levels that he wasn't able to take Spurs to, because he didn't have the backing with Spurs. So I was really worried because I knew that you were gonna give him the backing, you were gonna put the money on the table for the players that he specifically wanted. But obviously, it turned out to be an absolute disaster. So I just wanted to hear your point of view on that because my boy, my boy hates Poch. Like he like I said, he strongly feels like Poch was at fault for everything from start to finish. He was at fault for everything. So it's nice, it's refreshing to hear like a different side to the argument.
I don't like Poch, by the way, either. Let's not just say I'm not a big fan of Poch, but I'm being a bit more objective. You need to look at it from like the sporting director failed the team already. He should have been the manager, in my personal opinion. It should have been someone else completely. He should have gone for a manager who knows how to use technical players. That's what I look at first before I even look at what Poch did at our football club.
Valid. That's valid. All right. Well then, as for the season goes on, bro, what are your expectations as a Chelsea fan? Because obviously, on the pitch, things are starting to look a bit more brighter. You know, the season didn't start off as great, but things are looking a bit more brighter now. So, what's the expectation, like trophy wise and performance wise, as the season goes on?
Me, I'm expecting top 4. That's basically and you know what? You know something I always like to say. Yeah,
are you expecting top 4? Like, are you expecting top 4 to challenge, or just top 4, just sneaking top 4?
I think top 4, just making top 4. I think so far because I think our defense is not good enough right now, in my personal opinion. So as such, I would say minimum expected. Keyword is minimum expected. Yeah, top 4. That should be for any Chelsea fan. If they tell you that, that's minimum expected top 4. Like that's what we should do. That's like you know if you I know you don't know GCSEs or stuff like that. You know like how it's got minimum expected grade. That's minimum expected grade for us. There we go. Yeah. So I think that's for it for me personally. And on that aspect, my secondary thing is Europa Conference League. That should be already in my trophy cabinet already. And then I'm expecting that FA Cup.
That's fair. That's big expectations. All right. Okay. To be honest, looking from the outside in, I cannot argue with that. I feel like the Conference League is already in the cabinet as well. I mean, the way you're breezing through teams, you know, when you have players like Cole Palmer who are not even in the squad and you're still breezing through teams like this, it's scary hours, you know. So
bro, there's just the gap. I think something that you have to look at is just the gap of just not even talent between the guys you're putting on team and then the team that Panathinaikos are putting through. That again are putting through. It's crazy, bro. I swear to you, bro. Like this is like the team we're playing right now is if not upper Europa League, guaranteed UCL squad. It's guaranteed. This is a team that we're playing. Bro, we're better than a few UB. Listen, we are better in my personal opinion, and we are better than a lot of teams here that are playing in the UCL right now. Like 90%.
Bro, your second team is a top 10 team in the Premier League, I think.
100.
So, like, and the levels of quality you're playing in the Conference League, you're playing second league division teams in Germany, and those kind of teams, it's crazy. Like the gulf is absolutely crazy. So
this is why Conference League. I do wonder about Conference League, bro. Like I don't know how long it can be sustainable for because particularly if these English teams like Aston Villa obviously went to the final, like and stuff like that. If you have like these big teams dropping into Conference League week in week out, you know what I mean? That is just basically going to be an England team winning every season.
Yeah, but this is the problem. The guys at UEFA, I don't think we're looking at when they made the tournament because when you have freak seasons like this where Chelsea are finishing below expectations and they have 2 squads that are good enough to finish in the top 10 in the league and are playing in the Conference League, it's trouble for everyone else, you know. So like I was saying it to my boy, like that that obviously this tournament is made for teams in the mid half of the table, your Newcastles, your Crystal Palace, your Aston Villas even, you know, but because you had a freak season and you finished below par and now you're having
but even then, bro, look at the top 6, bro. Look at the top 6 teams that you've got, bro. Yeah, like you're talking about top 6 teams, right? So I'm just talking about the top 6 teams. Like Chelsea, obviously they would win that squad. You guys, would beat through Conference League.
Oh, absolutely, bro.
So maybe Spurs give me an argument for Spurs mentality for doing that rubbish. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point, right? But any other of the top 5 teams, if they get into Conference League, it's cooked.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are right. I agree with you. Long term, UEFA need to have a look and see how they can try and adjust it or try and do something around it. But yeah, because or else it could turn easily to that kind of a situation where every season there's an English team, a big English team dropping down and then just mashing work up on every single team. Like I said, bro, you're having second division teams from Germany playing in that tournament, bro. You're having Irish teams who are playing in that tournament,
You know, we're
and the
facing
Irish
an Irish team actually. We're actually facing an Irish team actually. If I'm
oh
not
yeah, yeah,
mistaken.
yes, Shamrock Rovers,
Shamrock.
yeah.
Big up
Yeah,
Shamrock
Shamrock
Rovers.
Rovers.
One of my guys actually is an Irish guy too. Yeah? He's actually a Shamrock fan actually and a Chelsea fan. So big up to him, man.
Oh yeah,
I think
big up to you, big up to you. But this is what I'm
so
saying, bro. Like the standard of football in Ireland, you know, and you're playing against the quality of Chelsea, it's just not fair at all.
it's
It's just
bro. We're facing a team. I
it's a
think that's
walkover,
good.
bro.
We're facing a team called Astana or something like that. Yeah, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. They're in Azerbaijan. You can't even take a plane there. You have to take a plane and then a coach to get there. It's crazy, bro. Like, you know what I mean? That is literally point blank crazy, bro.
that is. But we were making fun of the Europa League for this exact same reason. But the Europa League has got better in quality over the last couple of years. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see if UEFA even do anything in relation to that. They probably won't, you know, because this is good money for them. You know, this is what they want. So, but it is really gonna be interesting to see because I feel like teams in the big leagues could exploit this. They could exploit this easily.
A lot
Like
of people gonna be starting for the cups. A lot of people
People
gonna be
were
starting
making
for the
fun of
cups.
Chelsea at the start of the season, my bro, saying, "Oh my God, you guys have got 50 something players." But these are the reasons why it's important to have these big squads where you can just go out to the conference league, just put out a complete starting 11 and mash work, bro. Like I don't even know, like
Bro,
has your
I don't
squad been
even think
announced
it's
for
fair.
the World Cup?
What? No, it's gonna be probably the same squad. It's gonna be the same squad in a way.
Okay,
Like,
okay, okay, okay.
but the thing is, bro, like, yeah, you're talking about mashing work, bro. I don't think it's even fair to call it mashing work, bro. You're doing more. This is like belt to arms, big man. You know what I mean? This is, you know what I mean? It's not even like being called mashing work. Like, if this is mashing work, bro, yeah, I'll be appreciative of the fact that we're mashing work on these teams. You know,
Yeah.
this is worse. This is actually worse what we're doing. I'll be real.
No facts, bro. But no, look, I can't argue with your expectations. That's very much realistic. Were those expectations the same prior to the season starting, or they've just changed since the season has started?
Can you repeat that for me? Sorry, I couldn't hear my brother. What did you say?
No, I'm saying has your expectations changed like from
Yes, you
now?
know bro. I'll be honest, yeah. Before we signed Pedro Neto, my prediction currently at that time was top 6. I was gonna actually give the
Okay.
manager full time and like say, obviously he has to be back yet. The team wasn't getting the dad and the stuff to the squad, but then we got those crazy stuff happen. Neto, this we got who is it that we brought? We brought Neto, then we brought Jao Felix, then we brought a bunch of Sancho came in through the door. We brought a bunch of players in terms of the attack that I was like our attack is just too good now. You got too much firepower now that you can't lose games. And the thing I've always said again is that we need to be like 17, 18 Liverpool. You know what I mean? In the sense that we have no defense, just attack.
And before I go into the game, bro, I want to ask about your young talent that's meant to come, Esteval, bro, because my boy's been raving about him. He can't wait for him. I just
It's not just Esteval. I feel like a lot of people talk about just Esteval. There's another guy that's coming out as well. Pires, Esteval and Pires, bro. Yeah.
oh,
My
Kendrick Myers,
goodness.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Those two, like they really seem like they're definitely like wonder kids. They like Esteval scoring a goal every single week. We're hearing about him. He looks like the next, like it's almost looking like we brought in the next Neymar. Like the way that they're talking about him, bro. Like he's getting more hype than Endrick. Like the way that a lot of the Brazilian guys are talking about him, and you see now Endrick. I don't know what's going on at Real Madrid, but he's not even starting at Real Madrid, which is I don't know if like that with the hype that he's been getting. But like again with him, one thing I will say about him, talented guy. He's a right winger, Madueke. Got to start performing, big man, as I always say to him. But he's very good on the right. His touch on the ball, very good at his dribbling skills. Again, suits the manager's system to the T, unironically. Suits our manager's system to a T. And again, it does make up for losing to Elise, in my personal opinion, because like I was fuming when we lost when Elise went to Bayern. I was genuinely fuming. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite right wingers of all, right now in the league.
And he's
hot.
balling now in Germany. He's balling.
To be fair, I will be honest, man. I think we need to add a bit of the tax. You know what I mean? Bundesliga tax needs to be added a bit more heavily in there. You know what I mean? I that's why whenever I look at attackers that are the Bundesliga, I'm like, is it because of the Bundesliga now? Is it? You know what I mean? Because like he's scoring way too many goals. Like he's scoring way too much now. He's like the numbers are a bit too much now. It's like I was saying to you, bro. But but it's about definitely talented. He's a wonder kid, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. But I think with Chelsea, the one thing I will say, I think we should give him a little bit of the Ferdinand treatment, where you allow him to have his time, implement him to the squad with time. Don't rush him in. Don't make him start a game week 1.
All right, is that the expectation then for him and Paris for the next 2 years? Just blood them in, game out, slowly, and then within 2-3 years' time, you expect them to be starters.
Exactly, and because I don't want, because otherwise, bro, like we're just putting too much pressure on the young lads. You don't want to be, and particularly when he's only, these guys are both 18 years old, bro. We don't want to be, throwing them straight into the walls. Because you know what the EPL is like, bro.
Yeah, of course.
They see them, boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
welcome to the Premier League, big man. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So,
of course.
So you don't want that to be. You don't want that to happen to the young lads. You want to give them a little bit more time to actually learn their trade a little bit. In my personal opinion.
No, I hear that. Look, I've heard a lot of hype about them, Esteval particularly. So because I do follow Palmeiras, so I've heard. Yeah, and like, you're right. He's been hyped a bit more even than Endrick was. So the future's bright. I can't wait to see how he fares here in England. Maybe the weather might not be good enough for him, and then he might just be another Kennedy. But hey, look, let me not speak too soon. We'll just wait and see. But going into the game, my bro, I want you to run me through your predicted 11 for the game and your.
It's gonna be the same starting 11 against Newcastle. So it'll be Sanchez in goal, Reece James, was Fofana, then Colwill, then Malo Gusto, then Lavia Caicedo, Palmer in the 10, Neto on the right, Manueke on the left, and then obviously our striker will be Nicholas Jackson.
And what you thinking? What you think the philosophy is going to be? Are you going out there to win? Are you going to just try and counter us, sit back and just get us off the break? Like, what do you think the message is going to be going to the game?
I think again, our message is always going to be to win. I just think we're just going to play the same style of football.
Okay, that's fair. That's valid. I think as well that you're going out there to win. You probably might be just a bit more. You might show us a bit of respect just because of the situation at hand. My starting 11 predicted would be Onana in goals, Mazraoui and Dalot at fullbacks, Martinez and De Ligt, the center backs, and then in the midfield, Kobe Mainoo's still injured, so I'm gonna go for Casemiro and Ugarte. I just think Eriksen's legs just will fall off within the first 20 minutes in this kind of a game. When you're playing against powerful midfield like Caicedo and
I think we will dominate the midfield, and I think if we dominate the midfield, I think that's a big problem for you guys because then you can't control the game. We're gonna put you definitely on the back foot a lot more. And I think the difference between us and maybe when you were facing Tottenham is that you've got pacey fullbacks. Gusto's got the pace to come back, recover with ease. Reece James can do that with ease. Levi Cole with Fofana, fast players. So even if you try to do over the top ball, we've got players who are fast enough to handle that, in my personal opinion, too.
The midfield battle is going to be very interesting because if we do go for Ugarte, Casemiro, and Bruno in the middle, I feel like, physically they might not be the most athletic, but they've got energy for days. They're willing to, even though Bruno, I always get at him for running like a headless chicken, but he's always there. He's always willing to run. He's always going to run like up and down. Casemiro and Ugarte defensively, you know what you're going to get. They're defensively minded players. So the midfield battle will be very much interesting in that sense. I'll go for Rashford and probably Ahmad, because I just want a bit of cuteness. I feel like Rashford and Garnacho, having them on either wing is just, yeah,
Too
it's
much
just
PMP.
too much PNP, no end product, too much PNP. Both players are kind of brain dead footballers. So like like you said, the PNP works when you're playing against teams that don't have the pace to track back. But with Chelsea, you're having players, center backs, full backs who can run back on the other side as quickly as our fullback, as our winger. Sorry, so
Mhm.
the PNP might not necessarily be a big advantage for us. So I'm gonna go for Ahmed, a bit more cuteness. And in the nine, I'm probably gonna go for Hoyland, just because I think Xerxes is short of confidence at the present moment. So I'm gonna go for Hoyland in the nine. I'm not expecting Hoyland to do much, but just run around, just be there. But that would be my starting 11, I think. And I think the message is just go out there, play, just do the best that you can, boys. I don't think we're gonna go. I don't think we're gonna be trying to be too philosophical or try and implement too much, because Ruud hasn't had any time at all to do anything with the players. So it's just gonna be pretty
Yes.
much a freestyle. Boys, just go out there and do your thing. Let them know you're there. Win the first tackle. Just the standard procedure.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be one of those games, because Chelsea and Maresca are very attacking minded. You guys are going to come out. We're going to be allowing you to have the ball. We're going to sit back, try catch you guys off on the break. So I think it's going to be one of those games where it could easily be decided by Rashford, by Rashford counter attack. I see it as one of those games where you'll have more of the ball. You might have more of the chances even, but we might just have one or two breaks that win us the game. That's just how I see it.
Fair enough. I just don't. I think with Chelsea, you've not been unlethal to the counter. This season at the very least, like we don't, we actually aren't being counter attacked as much. We're controlling ourselves and everything like that. So for me, I don't think that's much good. I don't think counter attacking football works on us as it did before. Because I think what happened this season is that Maresca's done a good job of like out of possession, making us look solid and solidified, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take. But and like you'd mentioned, you guys defensively, you are very good at countering the long ball, and we do love playing the long ball a lot with Bruno coming almost as a quarterback, dropping deep, pinging it long,
Mhm.
either for Ahmad or for Rashford or Garnacho. So like you're bound. You One of those is bound to come off. Usually out of 10, 15 long balls, one of those is bound to come off and lead to a chance. So it's gonna be very, very interesting to see, even though if you defend and neutralize the long ball or the counter attack very well, it'd be very interesting to see what we could pull up our sleeves, because you know the game. You've watched enough of football to know that all it takes is just one mistouch, one wrong long ball to just lead to an open goal chance. So um on the flip side though, Chelsea, my biggest worry about Chelsea would be the midfield as well. I would be worried about your midfield being too powerful for us, because we've had issues. We've had issues we've had issues all season long where there's been gaps in the midfield. Kobe Mainu all alone, not knowing whether to drop deep or not knowing whether to press forward. We've had issues in the midfield, too many gaps, getting run through attack after attack, game in game out. So I just feel like on the downside we might get overpowered by your midfield, and that might just win you guys the game. So
I
that's
feel
that's just how I feel.
I just feel like Lavia Caicedo 1 week rest, been chilling at home, just been doing training. I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be. And the thing is, you guys played midweek too. The energy
Yeah,
levels. That's what I
yeah.
have to say on that one. Still, you know what I
No,
mean?
no, no. Facts, bro. But this is probably where the advantage is on your side, because you played a completely different team like midweek, and we played our actual starting team. So fatigue might be a big factor going into the game. But at the same time, the feel good factor is there. So it could go anyhow, but for sure, I see it definitely as an interesting game. I think I see both teams definitely scoring. I see it's definitely going to be that open. I think both teams will definitely score. So I probably will go for a 2-1 Man United win.
That's that, man. Listen, I respect it, man. You know me. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, why are you doing that for? So like, listen, no,
Yeah.
I respect people that back their teams, man. If you back your team, listen, I'm backing my team. We will see what happens on the football pitch. Our players have to, don't let us down. You know what I mean? For you, don't let me down, Rashford. For me, don't let me down, Jackson. Simple as that. You know what I mean? So there we go.
Nah, may the best team win for sure, for sure.
May the best man win, honestly. But I think, listen, honestly, for me though, listen, it's going to be a good game. I always think United Chelsea is usually a good game anyway in general. But listen, I look forward to it, and I think, listen, records are meant to be broken. I think it's going to be 13 years, if not one day, if I'm not mistaken, like 10
Yeah.
years, 11. See, sometimes, bro, sometimes unlucky 13 for United. Bang, you know what I mean? There we go.
Only time will tell, bro. Only time will tell. But nonetheless, though, people, thank you very much. Thank you all for tuning into the stream. Thank you all for watching. All those who are watching wherever you are, in work, at home, wherever. Appreciate all the support you've been showing to the channels since we've started this. So big ups to you, my bro, as well for joining in. Is there
No problem.
anything you want to plug for your channel, like for
Of
your
course.
schedule for the coming week?
Obviously, you can find me on at the Bridge Nation. Of course. Thank you for 2.7K. Obviously, it was much appreciated by everyone here as always. I think for me, tomorrow obviously is going to be my preview. Make sure you're there. 11 p.m. UK time. We do the preview for Chelsea versus Manchester United. I'm probably going to get a guest as well for United on there as well at 11 p.m. If not, it'll be 10 p.m. Today, though, I will be on Staffy TV. My good friend Staffy, he's a Manchester United fan. I'm going to do a preview there with him as well. But that one's going to be a bit more cheap, funnier because, obviously he's my guy. I'm going to be a bit more of a troll there, if you know what I mean. But listen, we move. But big up to you, big up to Pitch Private Podcast for having me, man. Much appreciated for you having me here as always, my brother too.
Love for that, my bro. Love for that. Like you heard, people. Like if you're trying to find his channel, the name is gonna be on the title. I'll put the link to his channel as well in the description after the stream. But yeah, people, that from my side, Richie should be back here with a chat about Chelsea tomorrow, and Lawrence should be doing an Arsenal podcast on tomorrow as well. And then the next time you probably will see me should be the match reaction after the game. So yeah, people, thank you all for those who are watching, listening. I should be back again after the match on the weekend. Peace.
Chelsea W.